What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with the update of Carlos Thomas Jr., the guy who is widely being considered as the biggest wildcard in this year's Arnold lineup, other than Andrew Jacked. So this will be Carlos's first time competing against almost all the top guys of the Olympia level of the men's open class. And the one thing that has made things really exciting are his statements leading into this show, specifically the ones where he said that he wants a comparison with the former Miss Olympia Derek Lunsford. And that just goes to show us how confident the man is going into this show, and also about the package that is bringing this time around. Now this video was taken at 2 weeks out of this year's Arnold, and at first glance, the thing that's most noticeable is that his skin texture that still doesn't look very thin, especially in reference to the top IFBB standards. And for those of you guys who do not remember, that was a problem at his last show, his first show, Texas Pro, back in 2023. Now this has nothing to do with his work ethic or his dieting. Some bodybuilders, they genetically just do not have that thin skin. So a great example from the past, that was Lionel Bayeki, the one guy who is probably regarded as one of the most gifted bodybuilder after Flex Wheeler in terms of shape and the structure that he had. But the fact is he never had the thinnest skin, and that led to him not having the best detail on the stage. Now Carlos most probably was flat when this video was taken, and that also sometimes blurs out the lines, and that also gives a false impression that maybe someone is not lean enough. Now 2 weeks out, in this update, the other thing that stands out is that he needs more detail, especially in his delts, to match up to his great arms. But for a genetic freak like Carlos, it is all about that illusion that is gonna create on the stage, standing next to all these top guys. So do you guys have Carlos in your top 6? So Hostile just dropped some Sherpa lined zip-up hoodies and forged hooded jackets. So do check them out and use the code FAZI10 to get 10% extra discount. So the project mass building and getting bigger, that is on full display when you see the latest update of the former Miss Olympia in classic physique, Breon. So Breon's arrival in the 212, that is one of the most exciting things in this division for 2025 season, because as of right now, I think we all know Keon Pearson is most likely gonna win his third Miss Olympia title, and that too in a very dominating fashion again. There is no stopping that guy, but we are all thrilled to see how Breon is gonna shake up that top 5 at the Olympia in October, as he's gonna be the odd man out, because let's be real here, Breon just isn't getting as thick as Angel Calderon in just 1 year. I don't think he wants to go that route either, but the man is very complete, and the fact is you can never mess up your conditioning when Breon is competing against you. So the fate of Breon's career, that is all dependent on his legs and how much size he can put on his quads. Now he just won't be rewarded in the 212 class, or rather I should say, he won't be able to match very well against those 212 mass monsters unless he makes some big size improvements in his lower half. And that's exactly what Breon has been working on throughout this time. Now he had such a successful career as a classic physique pro, and he is gonna finish his career in the 212 class, that division in which he originally started as a pro. So what are your expectations from Breon for 2025? Guys, Gorilla Wear is offering a massive discount of up to 70% right now. Use the code FAZI10 to get 10% extra discount. Next up, we have today's physique update of the most unlucky bodybuilder of last year, Presti. Unlucky in a sense that he placed runner-up in 3 shows back to back. And 2 of those shows, the runner-up placings, they were against top Olympians, and they were Hunter Labrada and Samson Dauda. I mean, what are the chances that an Olympia title contender is gonna enter a show 2 weeks prior to the Olympia? Well, I have got to say, up until last year, the chances of that happening, they were 0. Because, if I'm not mistaken, what Samson did at France Pro, that was totally unprecedented and unlucky for Presti, because it would have been a clear-cut victory for him at that show if it wasn't for Samson Dauda, or even in Italy if Hunter Labrada wasn't there. Now Presti's placing in the post-Olympia shows, that did not help his reputation at all as a 3 times former Olympian. I mean, the man was able to make barely top 5 in his last show, which was the Big Man weekend. So if Presti ever wants to get back on that Miss Olympia stage, the quads need to come up, and big time. Because other than that, the man is very complete, especially his upper body, that is one of the best in the world. And he brings incredible condition as well. But the judges just aren't willing to reward a physique with an imbalance between the upper and lower body. Now the true picture on how good Presti's upper body is can be seen in those comparisons with Hunter as well as Samson Dauda. He's one of the widest guys on the stage. Now kinda too bad, his legs training has been suffering a lot due to an injury that he had when he was young, and not once, but twice. Next up, we have a 1 week out physique update from Justin Rodriguez on his road to his 5th consecutive Arnold, which, by the way, in itself is kind of an honor as the Arnold. That is the second biggest bodybuilding show in the world, and we can critique his physique all we want, as he's not even in the discussion at all, especially as far as the top 6 of this year are concerned. Or there is a high likelihood that he might be one of the last placing guy at this year's Arnold, along with maybe Patrick Moore. But that being said, you have got to respect his love for the sport as well as for competing, as the man continues to do all the things which are necessary to show up on the stage, and the man also does his best to show up as good as he can be on the stage, especially at this later stage of his career. So there is a lot of light manipulation in this recent video, and thus a lot of detail being showcased on Justin's physique, and it is kinda too bad. His quads are just no longer where they need to be in terms of size, and that specific change in his physique that has made the overall flow very much compromised, because that is the reason his waistline, his midsection looks a lot wider, because he doesn't have that X-frame anymore, and he never had the best quads to begin with. So based on the season that Justin had last year, some of us thought that he might announce his retirement, because this is a guy who was top 8 in the world up until the Olympiad 2021, and just guess where he placed at his last show, which was Lead in Sports, a show with a weak lineup. He was 10th, being beaten by some new pros that we do not even know about.
Is he going to compete?
He's doing the show, he's doing the FIBO.
Is
Yeah,
it?
people, that's what it is. Yep.
So this is now confirmed from a second source that Sergio Oliva Jr. he is gonna be competing at FIBO Germany, which is happening 7 weeks from now. And the source, that is none other than Chris Cormier, a guy who has trained Sergio before in his career. So get ready for a matchup between James Hollingshead and Sergio, because as of right now, these are the two guys who are confirmed for that show. And starting from Detroit Pro, there is just 1 week gap between the Arnold Brazil and FIBO Germany. So the chances are that we're gonna see some great lineups in all of these shows, and at the first ever FIBO Germany as well. And isn't that exactly what Sergio wanted? What he said, that he doesn't want to do a show where the lineup isn't very deep, or where he won't have any good competition. He wanted to win a show where we have some stiff competition, and his wish is about to come true.
For Sergio, I think it's the best he's looked in the midsection. Chest can be a little fuller, but the delta and separation in the arms.
So Sergio is changing very fast. He looks round and he looks muscular. And the fact that this is the first time him prepping with a different coach other than Chris Aceto, that does make things kind of exciting, as Stefan has become the most reputable coach in the industry, especially after the Olympia last year. Now, all that being said, Sergio desperately needs to deliver in this upcoming show, and by that I mean he needs to win this one, because if he doesn't, it will be very clear that it was more about his physique missing some things rather than his ability to peak 100% for all these shows, and his career as a competitive pro, that is gonna be at an end. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.